think we're good. All right, I'm gonna stick him.
Start down.
All right. Hello everybody, it's Hater, and welcome to the first build video of Bungie's 30th anniversary event. Hope you all are enjoying it as much as I am, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the return of the legendary Gjallarhorn rocket launcher. And then we're going to talk about a build that's going to allow you to take it into any endgame content and dumpster anything that comes in your way. Before we get into that though, guys, if you enjoy the build and you like the videos that I put out, then leave a like on the video, leave a comment down in the comment section, any questions or ideas that you have for the future. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so you'll be up to date when a new build video goes out. Before we talk about what Gali actually does, if you haven't actually gotten Gjallarhorn yet, you have to go into the Cosmodrome and pick up the quest Outfly the Wolves from Shah-Han. He's basically going to want you to go into the new dungeon, Grasp of Avarice, and fully complete it. If you happen to have any trouble with the dungeon, then no need to worry, I am going to be making some builds here in the future that will basically help you solo the dungeon, alongside a few tips and tricks to make it easier on yourself. But after you killed the final boss from the dungeon, the next step is going to have you collect Gjallarhorn parts by killing higher tier Fallen in the Cosmodrome. The best and easiest way to get this done is just to launch up a Fallen Saber, and you'll more than likely get this part done by the time you're done with the Warsat. After you've gotten that done, it's going to want you to run a Exodus Garden to a Lost Sector, which, if you've watched the majority of my videos, that's actually where I do a lot of my ad clear damage testing. After you killed the boss servitor and open the chest, you're going to return to Shah-Han and you're going to collect your newly acquired Gjallarhorn. As for the catalyst though, because Gjallarhorn has a catalyst, I'm not going to go into full details because I've actually made a guide video on Gjallarhorn's catalyst. It'll be in the description if you need it. But moving over to what Gali actually does, its main perk is Wolfpack rounds, just like in Destiny 1, where rockets will split upon impact, creating tracking cluster missiles that damage enemies near the impact. As for its new perk, however, Pack Hunter, it's pretty insane, and I'm gonna read this slowly so you understand. Gain increased handling and reload speed when standing near allies. That's pretty good. Firing this weapon also grants Wolfpack rounds to nearby allies wielding non-exotic rocket launchers. This literally changes everything that is the current PvE meta. In other words, you just have to have 2 people in your fire team run Gjallarhorn and the rest of them use explosive light rocket launchers like the Hothead and Ascendancy. Because with the explosive light and the immense amount of damage that these rockets do, adding Wolfpack rounds to them is gonna be astronomical, and it's even opening up their exotic slots to other things. Then, as if Gali already didn't bring a lot to the table, its catalyst is gonna give it a second bullet to the magazine, which why does this exist? I literally thought this was only gonna be a Destiny 1 thing. As for the other part of the catalyst, which it has, now on top of the Wolfpack rounds, they're also gonna be spawning much more powerful Wolfpack rounds upon killing an ad, making it good in ad clear too. Okay, now that I've confidently hyped Gjallarhorn up and properly collected myself, let's talk about Gali's damage. And oh boy, damage does it bring to the table, because when we head over to our friendly neighborhood Colossus Carl, one rocket is going to deal 55,640 on the explosion, and the Wolfpacks are practically impossible to look at, but based on damage to Carl, it's going to be right around 40k extra damage, equaling out to a total of right around 95 to 100,000 damage. Comparing this to something like the Hothead or Ascendancy, after hitting Carl with the Ascendancy, it's also gonna do right around 97,000 damage, making this rocket launcher on par with some of the meta rocket launchers we have in the game. But remember, Gjallarhorn's gonna be able to print the Wolfpack rounds onto said rocket launchers. So if we add right around 45,000 extra damage to these rocket launchers, we're going to be using rocket launchers that are going to be dealing roughly 140,000 damage a shot. And this is without buffs or anything, because we could add like Well of Radiance to this, we could add Bubble to this, we could add Font of Might to this, we could add so much to this to increase this even further. In conclusion, I'm pretty sure we're in the top tier DPS ballpark with Galley. To make this better, because I can't believe I'm saying that, I made a build that will bring Galley even higher than it already is. And the first thing we're gonna be using are Warmind cells. Aren't you proud of me for not saying elemental wells for once? But we're gonna be using them because, how do I put this? Gjallarhorn can create Warmind cells using a similar trick that Witherhoard uses. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then let me explain. Because when Season of Arrivals came out and released the exotic grenade launcher Witherhoard, there was a trick you could use that's still active in the game now, where if you shoot Witherhoard and swap to a weapon that can create Warmind cells, i.e. the Ikelos or 7th Seraph weapons, the damage Witherhoard would deal counted towards making Warmind cells, which, when applied to Galley, can be kind of broken because Galley per shot deals right around 100,000 damage, meaning it's an awesome option towards nuking champions or higher health targets. So what basically will happen is whenever, you know, Galley is about to kill either a pack of adds or a champion or a boss, you can swap to your Warmind weapon and instantly spawn a free Warmind cell. Sadly, Warmind cell damage overall was lowered because of a recent nerf, but that doesn't matter because we're going to be making their sole purpose to increase our overall damage output with the mod Power of Rasputin. Basically meaning whenever we have a Warmind cell on the ground, enemies that are near it are going to give us 10% more damage towards them. Of course, this doesn't sound like a whole lot at first, but in the long run, it's actually going to be adding up like multiple other buffs we'll be using. Now, to answer the question of how we're going to get said Warmind cell to the enemies, we'll be using Grasp of Rasputin so we can pick up the Warmind cell and chuck it at any unfortunate personnel that is in our wake. Then that basically is the two main mods of the build. For the rest of it, we're just going to focus into survivability and run Taking Charge with Protective Light. But for that final slot of the build, it comes down to a few things. We could use Warmind's Protection for damage reduction on top of everything, Warmind's Longevity for lengthy DPS phases, Light from Darkness to gain charge with light stacks from the enemies near the Warmind cell, or go for a neutral option and increase the range on Power Rasputin with Global Reach. You realistically cannot go wrong adding on to this build. To demonstrate the mods and everything where they all go, we'll be focusing on my Warlock, even though the build can be applied to all three classes. This is just the class that I prefer, but for an example of the build, I'll be using Well of Radiance to give me more damage whenever I get into any DPS phase. For my exotic slot, I'm using Phoenix Protocol, but I could also use Mantle of Battle Harmony or Lunafaction Boots depending on my current activity. Over at my armor, I have 3 of them at least void so I could fit the mods as I mentioned before, and the other 2 can be whatever I want. On my helmet, I have it Void Energy with Power of Rasputin and a Rocket Launcher Ammo Finder. Over at my arms, I have these also void with Grasp of Rasputin and 2 champion mods of choice. In my chest piece, I've got it as Solar Energy with Taking Charge at the end since it's not so specific to the energy type, and 2 resist mods for survivability. On my boots, I have them as the 3rd void piece and put Protective Light in at the end with a Better Already and a Rocket Ammo Scavenger. Finally, over at my bond, I have it as Solar for energy with both a focusing lens, so if anyone tags anything with stasis, Galley will do 25% more damage, and a global reach. Overall guys, this is going to be the build that I'll run on my Warlock. Of course, I cannot stress this enough. You can use this build on literally every single class in the game with any build of your choosing. The only thing you gotta make sure you have is 3 pieces of void gear, Power of Rasputin, Grasp of Rasputin, Gjallarhorn, and a weapon capable of creating Warmind cells. I hope you guys enjoyed the build and let me know if you use it or have any questions in the comments. I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye bye.